Greetings, citizens of the United States. We are anonymous. In the wake of SOPA and PIPA, the race for the censorship of the World Wide Web is far from over. Bills sometimes fall in between the cracks of the media. SOPA and PIPA were just fortunate to have not been as such. Current censorship legislation is already being instated with the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act of 2011, CISPA, the cybersecurity bill now before the U.S. Congress. In the name of the war on cybercrime, it would allow the government and private companies to deploy draconian measures to monitor, even censor the internet on a global scale. It might even be used to close down sites that publish classified files or information. Freedom of expression and the protection of online privacy are increasingly under threat in countries with a democratic reputation, where a series of bills and draft laws is sacrificing them in the interests of national security or copyright. A blanket monitoring system is never an appropriate solution, nor is blocking or censoring websites that disclose information that is classified but of public interest. The organization recently highlighted Britain's Orwellian bill, and France's aspirations to make visiting websites that advocate terrorism or violence a crime. CISPA is aimed at promoting the exchange of information between the authorities and the private sector to facilitate the detection of, and the fight against, cybercrime. However, it would allow the U.S. government and private companies, service and technical providers to install systems to monitor communications, or even close down or block access to websites. The bill would allow companies protecting themselves to use cybersecurity systems to identify and obtain cyber threat information. Such vaguely defined systems could also mean monitoring, blocking or filtering systems. The definition of potential threats is even broader. It targets efforts to degrade, disrupt, or destroy a system or network, the theft or misappropriation of private or government information, intellectual property, or personally identifiable information. Websites that publish classified information, from the New York Times to WikiLeaks, could fall within the scope of the legislation. According to the U.S. digital rights organization Electronic Frontier Foundation, collecting and sharing information arouses major concerns over the protection of privacy and personal information. CISPA would provide a way of circumventing existing privacy legislation. CISPA, in its current form, is alarmingly broad in scope. Companies should only be permitted to share narrow categories of information with the government that precisely describe a real cybersecurity threat. Information sharing should be about increasing internet users' security, not government surveillance. The bipartisan bill was introduced on the 30th of November by two members of the House of Representatives, Republican Mike Rogers and C.A. Dutch Rippersberger, a Democrat, as an amendment for the 1947 National Security Act, and received the approval of the House Intelligence Committee the following day. The next stage is a vote in the full House. At the end of March, Rogers announced he had garnered support for the bill from more than 100 members of Congress, Democrats as well as Republicans. Two previous bills, the Stop Online Piracy Act, SOPA, and the Protect Intellectual Property Act, PIPA, aimed at protecting intellectual property online, were resisted by Silicon Valley, but key web players such as Facebook, Microsoft, IBM and AT&T have announced their support for CISPA. We must open our eyes. We must remain wakeful. We must snap to alert, because SOPA and PIPA were just the beginning. As a whole, we all must remain outset in this time of true social and political censorship. We are anonymous. We are the people. We are legion. We never forgive. We never forget. To the United States government, you should have expected us.